The Indiana Fever just got hit with another crushing blow, and this time it's not just about Caitlin Clark. What happened in pregame warmups against the Minnesota Lynx has Fever fans holding their breath, and the timing couldn't be worse. We're talking about a team that's literally running out of players, fighting for their playoff lives with only 9 bodies available. But here's where it gets interesting. New footage has emerged showing Caitlin Clark doing something that nobody expected to see this soon. And what she was doing on that practice court? It's got everyone in Indianapolis buzzing about a potential comeback that could save their season. Before we dive into this wild situation, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because the WNBA season is getting absolutely crazy right now, and you don't want to miss what happens next with Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Let's start with what just went down, because Chloe Bibby's last-minute scratch from the lineup tells you everything you need to know about how cursed this Indiana Fever season has been. Picture this. Bibby's out there in warm-ups, getting ready for a crucial game against the league-leading Minnesota Lynx, and suddenly she feels something in her left knee. Just like that, another player down. Coach Stephanie White called it precautionary, but when you're already missing 4 guards and your superstar hasn't played in over a month, precautionary feels like a luxury you can't afford. The injury report reads like a medical journal at this point. Caitlin Clark with the right groin injury that's kept her out since July 15th. Sophie Cunningham done for the season with a torn MCL. Ari McDonald out for the year with a foot injury. Sydney Colson season over with knee problems. And now Bibby joins the list with her knee issue. 5 players out, and we're talking about a roster that only has 14 spots to begin with. The Fever are literally running on fumes, and they still have 8 games left in the regular season. But wait, because this is where things get really interesting. While everyone's been doom and gloom about the injuries, something happened at practice that's got the entire fan base fired up. Multiple sources, including ESPN's Holly Rowe and Indy Star's Chloe Peterson, have confirmed that Caitlin Clark has been doing full court running at full speed. We're not talking about light jogging or stationary shooting. This is full speed up and down the court running. The same player who could barely walk off the court on July 15th is now sprinting like she's ready to drop 30 points on somebody. Here's what makes this even more significant. Clark hasn't just been running for a day or two. According to the latest reports, she's been at this for the last 4 or 5 days. That's huge progress for someone dealing with a groin injury, especially considering this is her 3rd soft tissue injury of the season. The medical staff isn't rushing anything, which is smart when you think about it. This isn't Clark's first rodeo with injuries this year. She missed games with a left quad issue, came back, then dealt with a left groin problem, returned again, and now this right groin injury. It's been a pattern that nobody saw coming from someone who never missed a single game in 4 years at Iowa. ESPN's injury report has been updating Clark's potential return date like it's tracking a package delivery. First, they said August 12th against Dallas. That came and went. Then it was maybe August 22nd, 24th, or 26th. Now, the smart money is on August 26th when the Fever host the Seattle Storm at home. That's this Monday, folks. We're talking about a potential return that's literally days away, not weeks. But here's the thing nobody's talking about enough. The Fever have actually been holding their own without Clark. They're 19-16 right now, sitting in 6th place in the standings. Yeah, they've lost some tough ones recently, including that 95-90 loss to Minnesota on Friday, where Kelsey Mitchell dropped 27 points and Lexi Hull had a career-high 23. But they've also shown incredible resilience. Remember that franchise record 21-point comeback against Connecticut? That happened without Clark. The Commissioner's Cup championship against these same Minnesota Lynx back in July, Clark was on the bench for that one too, and they still won 74-59. The real question is whether they can keep this up for 8 more games. The schedule is absolutely brutal. They've got the Lynx again on Sunday, then Seattle, then games against teams like the Sparks and Valkyries, who are right behind them in the standings fighting for those same playoff spots. Every single game matters when you're only 3 games ahead of falling out of the playoff picture entirely. The WNBA standings are tighter than they've ever been, with just 6 games separating the 2nd seed from the 10th seed. One bad week and you could go from home court advantage to watching the playoffs on TV. Now, let's talk about what Stephanie White said that should have every Fever fan paying attention. She made it crystal clear that Clark needs multiple practices with the team before she can return to game action. Not one practice, not a shoot-around, but multiple full practices, where she's going 5-on-5, taking contact, making cuts, and doing all the basketball movements that put stress on that groin. The coach said Clark has been doing individual workouts and running, but that's completely different from game speed basketball activities with defenders in your face. This is where Sophie Cunningham's comments on her podcast become really interesting. She basically confirmed what everyone suspected. It's literally a day-by-day situation. Clark doesn't even know when she'll be back. They're not working with some predetermined timeline where they circle a date on the calendar and say that's when she returns. It's all about how her body responds each day. One day she might feel great and think she's ready. The next day she could have a setback. That's the frustrating reality of groin injuries. They're unpredictable and can flare up when you least expect it. Think about what Clark has already been through this season. She's played in only 13 of 35 games. 13! For someone who is supposed to be the face of the franchise and lead them back to the playoffs, missing 22 games and counting is absolutely devastating. She's averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds when she plays, which are excellent numbers. But the best ability is availability. And right now, Clark doesn't have it. The psychological aspect of this can't be ignored either. Clark admitted before the All-Star break how frustrating it was to deal with the injuries. She went from never missing a game in college to becoming injury-prone in her second pro season. That's got to mess with your head. Every time you come back, there's that fear in the back of your mind. Is it going to happen again? Am I pushing too hard? Should I ease up? For someone as competitive as Clark, holding back goes against every instinct she has. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell has been absolutely carrying this team. She's averaging over 20 points per game and has been the most consistent player all season. Aaliyah Boston has had her moments, though she hasn't been the dominant force everyone expected after her rookie year. Natasha Howard showed what she's capable of in that Commissioner's Cup win. But without Clark facilitating and creating opportunities for everyone, the offense just doesn't flow the same way. They're missing that player who can break down defenses and find the open teammate at the perfect moment. The addition of Odyssey Sims and Shea Petty through hardship exceptions shows just how desperate the situation has become. These are veteran guards who know how to play, but they're being asked to learn a new system on the fly while playing major minutes immediately. Sims actually got hurt in Friday's game against the Lynx, limping off in the fourth quarter. If she can't go on Sunday, the Fever might literally run out of point guards. Petty would be the only healthy ball handler on the roster, and she just joined the team on Wednesday. General manager Amber Cox told reporters they're planning to sign another wing player, but at this point in the season, the pickings are slim. Most of the quality free agents have already been scooped up. You're looking at players who either weren't good enough to make a roster initially, or veterans who've been out of the league for a while. Not exactly the reinforcements you want when you're fighting for a playoff spot. Here's what's really wild. Despite all these injuries, ESPN still projects the Fever to make the playoffs. Their analysts looked at the remaining schedules and concluded that Indiana should be able to hold on to that 6th seed, but it's going to be close. The Sparks and Mystics are right there, waiting for the Fever to slip up. One bad stretch, one more significant injury, and this whole thing could fall apart. The fans in Indianapolis have been incredible through all of this. Gainbridge Fieldhouse has been packed for every home game, and the energy has been off the charts. They've stuck with this team through all the adversity, and you can feel how badly they want to see Clark back on the court. The franchise hasn't made the playoffs since 2016, and this was supposed to be the year they finally broke through. Having it potentially slip away because of injuries would be absolutely heartbreaking. But here's the thing. If Clark does come back for that August 26th game against Seattle, the Fever become a completely different team overnight. Even if she's not at 100%, just having her on the court changes everything. Defenses have to account for her range, her passing ability, her basketball IQ. She makes everyone around her better, and that's exactly what this depleted roster needs right now. The medical staff is being extremely cautious, and honestly, that's the right move. Clark is the franchise. She's the reason attendance is up, viewership is through the roof, and the Fever are relevant again. Rushing her back and having her re-injure that groin would be catastrophic, not just for this season, but potentially for her entire career. Groin injuries can become chronic if they're not properly healed, and nobody wants to see Clark dealing with this for years to come. Ryan Ruocco from ESPN mentioned during a recent broadcast that the Fever are hoping Clark returns to full practice during the week off they had from August 17th to 22nd. That's already passed, and we haven't heard confirmation that she's practicing with the team yet. But the fact that she's doing full speed running is incredibly encouraging. That's usually one of the last steps before returning to full basketball activities. The timeline makes sense when you think about it. If Clark starts practicing with the team early this week, gets through multiple sessions without any setbacks, she could realistically be ready for that Monday game against Seattle. That would give her 3 regular season games to get back in rhythm before the playoffs start on September 14th. 3 games isn't a lot, but it's better than 0. And if the Fever can somehow steal one of these games against Minnesota without her, they'd be in decent position to hold on to that playoff spot. The contrast between this season and last year is stark. In her rookie year, Clark played all 40 games, averaged 19.2 points, and helped lead the Fever to their first playoff appearance in 8 years. She was an iron woman, playing through bumps and bruises, never missing time. This year, it's been the complete opposite. The durability that was such a strength has become a major concern. Some people are questioning whether the Fever should even bring Clark back at this point. Why risk further injury when the team has shown they can compete without her? But that's missing the bigger picture. The Fever aren't just trying to make the playoffs, they want to make noise when they get there. And you're not doing anything in the postseason without your best player. Clark gives them a puncher's chance against anyone, even the powerhouse teams like Minnesota and New York. The situation with Chloe Bibby just adds another layer of complexity. She was supposed to be a key rotation player with Cunningham out for the season. Bibby had been playing well in limited minutes, providing energy and defense off the bench. Now she's dealing with a knee injury that came out of nowhere. The Fever can't catch a break. Literally, every time it seems like they're getting healthy, another player goes down. Coach Stephanie White has done an incredible job holding this thing together. She's had to constantly adjust rotations, change game plans, and keep morale high despite the mounting injuries. The fact that the Fever are still in playoff position is a testament to her coaching ability. But even she knows they need Clark back to have any real chance of making a run. The next 48 hours are going to be crucial. If Clark can get through a full practice without any issues, we might see her warming up for that Seattle game. If not, the timeline gets pushed back again, and suddenly you're looking at maybe 2 games or even 1 game before the playoffs. That's not ideal for someone trying to find their rhythm after missing a month of action. Subscribe right now if you want to stay updated on Caitlin Clark's return, because when she steps back on that court, it's going to be must-see TV. The atmosphere at Gainbridge Fieldhouse is going to be absolutely electric. And if she can lead this beat-up, exhausted Fever team to the playoffs, that might be the story of the WNBA season.